I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now, what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
Oh, give me fucking truth, baby. Come on. Let's go.
How have I been this successful in life?
Ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. We back, baby. We did it. Another edition of the MMA analysis coming at you. I am your sometimes host. I'm back. Sean, Wes, you've been holding down the fort without me for a while, winning some bets here and there, you know. Yeah. How we doing? I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you. We actually have some fights that kind of matter, so that's
Partially why I'm here.
yeah, it's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's good. Hockey's in full swing. Oilers are letting me down, so
They're just doing what they do.
This is what we do every fucking year,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
annoying, and yeah, so getting used to it.
You'll get there. Wes, how are you doing?
I'm father level good right now. I'm feeling fucking rough again. Yeah, I swear these kids all have HIV and it's airborne. So it's
All
not
those
good.
years you were making fun of Lance, now it's biting you in the ass.
It's not good, but yeah, we got some good fights this weekend. Hockey's back in full swing. The Cats are back playing tonight, so yeah, it's a good time of year for the old sports balls.
This is a good time of year. You know, you pay attention to the baseball playoffs if that's your thing, and
That's all of the baseball I even slightly pay attention to.
Oh, yeah.
It's the playoffs, you know.
Yeah, and then like flip between early season puck and hoops, and yeah, I guess football's happening. I enjoy like not having, they're not commitments, but like not just taking up my entire weekends with sports sometimes, but we'll get there. Once we get back into the lacrosse season, then that all goes out the window anyway. So
Deep into winter will help that as well when it's real shitty out and there's not as much fun things to do.
Exactly. I'm gonna try and get out of the country for a few weeks. We're thinking about going to Morocco in December.
Ooh.
So
My
that could be nice.
barber's Moroccan.
Yeah, is he good?
Very good. Yeah.
All right.
Followed that dude around the city. He's moved around a few times. I've been going that dude for like 20 years.
Nice.
Very good. Yeah.
Wes always has a nice tight fade
We
when
try.
I meet up in person. So
The front's starting to fade back too, but you know, I didn't ask for that.
I'm living that life, man.
It's
I'm
getting
living
there.
that life. I was just thinking, like, there's all of these people now that are fading on MMA, just because it's shitty
product.
a lot of the time
product.
now. But I was like, man, it's been 20 years, like more than 20 years of being a fan now, and it ebbs and it flows. And if you don't allow it, then it's just gonna make you bitter otherwise, because there's a lot of shit that goes on in this sport. Court cases, there is like the settlement, which I don't know, people seem to be drawing whatever conclusions they wanted to draw from that. To me, a bunch of fighters seem to really need the money right now that they could get in this settlement. And there's another case that's going on that could pay them more down the road. So hopefully that works out. But yeah, Sam Alvey, he really...
Yeah, if there was a proverbial dude on his knees sucking cock,
Supreme. Ball
Sam
liquor.
fucking Alvey. What's wild is like he says all that shit though, and like he didn't opt out though.
Nope.
So like
He's
he's
cashing
still
that check.
he's still cashing that check. Like Misha too, she was doing the whole same shit. It's wild to me how like that's what separates this quote unquote sport from like every other sport on this planet, to where these people literally actively root against each other making more money, to where in other sports they all get together like, no, these fucking rich people need to pay us more money. These people are literally like, what do you mean you want more money? Like it's wild to me. But like you're right, if there wasn't like the Shane Carwins and the Spencer Fishers and shit of the world, like there would be no settlement right now. But these dudes are literally so broken that they have to take this money. And, you know, like say what you will about Schaub, but if you watch that video of Schaub talking about Shane Carwin and you come on the other side of that and don't feel like these guys deserve their worth, man, like you're just you got other issues in your world of thinking than I do, because it's pretty fucked up to watch a man like that almost cry about his friend, literally like broken down at 40 something years old, thinking about suicide because he can't hold a job and shit. Yeah. And think that those guys don't deserve something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, can we get them health care or something? Like, yeah, I mean, anything, man. But yeah, that's tough shit, man. It's tough.
Yeah, it's not great. But sometimes we enjoy watching people get punched in the head. So, hey, what can you do? What can you do? Yep. Rob, the Chimay goblet is a classic. I had to bust it out for a fancy beer that I was having tonight. So, Sean's got the real. He was talking about your goblet, Sean. That's it. There you go. The old PBR chalice right there.
You're gobbling something. Fucking slamming down PBRs.
Luis will get to the Topuria Holloway fight in due time. Essentially, though, my big game plan for Holloway would be try to drag the fight out. Yeah. You need that to go deep so you can kind of level out the athletic advantages that Topuria has, but we'll get there later in the show. And yeah, Misha, old cupcake tits, just going downhill. Anyway, we had some fights last week. Allegedly, money, I didn't see them, but apparently they happened. They were in a warehouse. I don't know if they were broadcast on TV anywhere or it was just one of those things that they do over in Russia to build up fake records for guys. But UFC Vegas 99, was it?
It was
98. Oh, sorry, no, 99. Yeah, you are correct.
99.
There's been almost 100 of these fucking things.
Well, there's actually been a couple more because the Apex actually housed a couple of pay-per-views. But yeah, fight night cards, they've housed 99 of them. That's the sad existence that we are living in.
Gross. I'm going to go from the main event all the way down the card as we usually do. Don't interrupt me. We're breaking it all down at once. You get like 2 minutes to talk about it when I'm all done. Austin Lane, unanimous decision over Robespierre. Melissa Martinez, unanimous decision over something called Alice Ardeliane. Elise Reed, unanimous decision over Jessica Pasta. Jessica Pastor time, you might say. Somebody told her that's supposed to be al dente, not al dente. Jocelyn Edwards. Ooh, a finish. 4:33 of round 3.
Face crank.
Choke.
Classic. Face crank.
Oh, face crank.
They're giving it a face crank on the old
just
Wikipedia.
Like pure quit job.
Yeah.
Love it.
I got rear naked choke on tap, so who fucking knows?
Jean Matsumoto, unanimous decision over Brad Katona. Canada moves to 0-37 this year inside the octagon. Asu Almabayev, unanimous decision over Mateus Nicolau. That's actually like a pretty good win. Huh, it probably sucked. Darren Elkins, I lost $50 on this card because I had Daniel Pineda by sub for $50 at like plus 950. It was a stupid number.
It almost hit like straight up a few times.
Couple times.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. It was like locked.
Yeah. I'm glad. Would have been a shame if I bet it and didn't watch and it hit. So I didn't deserve to win. Maybe Pineda did, but Elkins takes a unanimous decision over Daniel Pineda. Cameron Smotherman. Okay. Unanimous decision over Jake Hadley. I think he's been cut already. Charles Johnson. Unanimous decision over Sumo Derji. Rob Font. He was a massive underdog here, and I didn't really.
There was two massive underdogs.
Why?
Smotherman
the Smotherman was a big dog too, as well, right?
Yep.
Against a flyweight moving up to bantamweight? What? Why? Anyway, he beat Kyler Phillips. Unanimous decision. Holy fuck, this card probably sucked. And Fluffy, we got another finish. 5th round, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. Finally got the TK. Was this like a fun wearing down mauling or just like a terrible?
It was just
watch?
sad. It was just sad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fun times. Anyways, that was the card. It sounds just thrilling. Lovely stuff.
Two finishes out of 11 fights. Only thing I got on the prelims. I am just absolutely pissed at myself. I kind of faded to Spain against Parisian. I think I sprinkled Parisian, had the over 1.5, and of course he just waxes him. And then I just didn't bet him against Where's Waldo and old Austin Lane or fade him, sorry. Or take the over 1.5 and fucking easy. The Spain is the biggest fraud ever. I've never seen somebody get so exposed of it after having a decent amount of hype and just waxing a guy in his UFC debut. And then he went from 18-second knockout to losing to Where's Waldo to opening the fucking fight card on this card. Amazing.
So he had 37 seconds of fight time between that Parisian win and the 3 before it.
I know.
And people are like, "Oh, he's got to be great."
I'm pretty sure we may have consensus Parisian or took the over.
The fatties, or
obviously that didn't work out, and then of course it works out after. So we are the mush, I guess. Other than that, some of these favorites, it's dicey, man. Like you got Charles Johnson. That was a close fight, and he was a decent sized favorite. Elkins, I guess that was a pick 'em, but Hadley going down as a giant favorite. I played Phillips inside the distance, not even close. Rob Font, in hindsight, like, why would we not play Rob Font? Kyler Phillips was not gonna kill him, and he's couldn't really get much. He's not really much of a finisher against upper echelon fighters. So that was a very dumb play on my part. And then my bigger play on the night was Fluffy. Got a little hairy. Dude is susceptible to the body. He loves getting kicked in the body and wincing and getting hurt. But it happened again. But Pereira couldn't finish the job, and then the inevitable happened. He just got drowned. Fluffy's good, man. His style at this weight class, doesn't seem like there's many grapplers anymore at 85. So he's kind of unique in that way. He's just got to protect the body, but I think he can do pretty well just kind of by his grappling and his pace, because as long as he's in 5-round fights, he's got a good chance against a lot of guys in the top 10.
Are there a lot of grapplers anywhere right now? Like obviously Marab, but like not
even grapplers like Fluffy though either, to where he has very good offensive wrestling to get it where he wants it, and his sub game is like legitimate.
He ain't stalling. He's looking to get some subs, and he's looking to smash.
And like I mean, we've talked about it before. You got a chin, cardio, decent ground game, like that could take you to the top 10, top 5 in almost every division. I will say though, like Sean's right. Like Pereira hit that dude in the body one time and he was wincing. He hit him like he backed him up to the cage. If Pereira lands another shot or two there, like who knows? Like Fluffy did defend pretty decently after it happened, but Pereira, being the idiot that he usually is, went all out to finish that fight. And man, he gassed so fucking hard
for it.
And then, man, Fluffy messaged our boy Dan Tom like the next day, and he had some round props on Fluffy, 2, 3, 4. And man, you want to talk about a bad beat, because Fluffy could have ended in the third. He literally he fucked with Pereira. He just laid on top of him and worked on him. He could have ended it whenever he wanted. But yeah, Fluffy's good, man, especially in a division that's like not very good. That guy's definitely a problem.
And he's different. Like it's not the same generic shitty cardio kickboxing that so many people do these days. So it's fun to watch. And
that's like Sean talking about these favorites and stuff. Now, I think we're just the reason why I think MMA has gotten kind of bad, and why, I mean, I bet a lot of dogs this year. It's not worked out well, but man, these fights are so close. All these guys are all the same. They're all, like Brad said, they're cardio kickboxers with good takedown defense. It ends up being close little pity-pat fights, and you're banking on shitty judges to give you the right decision. That's what this sport has turned into 90% of the time, and it actually fucking sucks. Like, it's not good to watch. It's not a good product. I don't like the people that kind of conflate. Well, it's MMA's as good as it's ever been. These guys are as good as they ever. Yes, their skills are as good as they've ever been. That's not great all the time, because you got the same dudes just matching up with each other. It turns into fucking boring stalemates, man. And if you're betting this shit, you're banking on these horrible judges that, like Saturday, there was multiple cards that were just way off and shit. But yeah, as far as the card, you had that over on Despain. The rest, who gives a shit. The Albamiev win over Nicolau was actually a decent win. That got worked, Nicolau, man. Like, he looked good. He was taking him down. That was actually a pretty good win. I think that dude's tough at 125, man. His wrestling and shit is very, very good. Elkins Pineda was insane. Pineda retired after that fight. That was like a quintessential fucking Pineda fight for him to go out on. Just madness. He had fucking Elkins bleeding all over the place. The first minute of the fight, dude, he had Elkins literally locked in. I'm talking sub-locked, choking this dude. Darren Elkins somehow fucking squeezes it. Had him in multiple other chokes as well that Elkins got out of. But Brad, I tell you, man, like, Pineda is one of those OG Friday night dudes that we used to watch was just action, man. Somebody tweeted out that I think Pineda's like, he only been to like a couple decisions in like 30 something MMA fights. Like, that's incredible. Whether he won or lost, that dude's an OG. I think
he never won a decision.
Yeah, he never wanted to say. I think he'd only been to like a couple decisions period in his career, which is incredible, man. But yeah, Pineda goes out on just a great fight. Smotherman beating Hadley, like Hadley was minus 650. That's insane. Hadley, like, I poked that guy like 7 times before he even got a point taken. Like, it's getting really, really bad with the fouls and the Kate. Like, something's got to give with that shit. And this one was bad. Like, Hadley literally, I think it was 3 or 4 eye pokes before the ref finally took a point, which is insane, man. Like, one eye poke that damages a guy should almost be a point automatically. Like, if you got to stop the fight and help the guy with a doctor, that should almost be a point. Like, you changed the outcome or the course of the fight at that point. Yeah, Johnson had, I thought Johnson had a decent win. I was wrong about the Font fight, man. Font you just never know with the guy, man. Sometimes he shows up, other times he doesn't show up. He looked really fucking good in this fight. Sean's right. Kyler Phillips he don't finish guys when he gets up to the upper echelon. And then, yeah, I talked about Fluffy. Fluffy's fun as hell. Want to see that guy fight. any day of the week.
There we go. UFC Vegas 99 in the books. Moving on to a different desert this weekend. Heading out to Abu Dhabi. It's not Riyadh season, folks. It's welcome to Abu Dhabi. What the fuck's their catchphrase that they discover Abu Dhabi? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I'm just. Yeah, I think I'm just repeating old Ontario catchphrases that we had here. I think Discover Ontario was the one when I was a kid. Anyway, good card. Great main event. Great co-main event. Maybe great co-main event. Intriguing co-main event. And then some other shit, which is like kind of meaningful, but nobody wants to watch Yankalaev and Rakic fight. But it's like, I guess, an important fight for light heavyweight. Lerone Murphy, Dan Ige, good shit. The one-eyed motherfucker, we don't like him, but hey, his fights are kind of chaos. We'll get through it all, but decent offering, decent time of day as well for folks like myself on the East Coast or Eastern time zone, not on the East Coast of North America. You don't have to have 2 title fights still starting left on the card at 12:30 a.m. or some of the ridiculous
I don't know how you guys
stuff
do it,
they've
man.
done.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't. I just go to sleep. I used to do it.
I'm luckily a night person anyway, so
night owl.
So am I. Anyway, we got a good card coming up. We'll break down all of it. Starting off in the welterweight division, Renat Fakhretdinov. He was the last guy to beat Wes's boy, Brian Battle, who's a superstar now, I hear.
Hey,
I haven't watched the MMA.
Hey, I came back and gave Battle
some flowers. He gave him some flowers. After he roasted that French crowd. He was ripping into the French people.
Maybe the first tough guy that I've faded the shit out of, that I've switched my position on. Yeah.
There you go. Nothing but belief in Battle. Anyway, he's taking on Carlos Leal, who he fought in PFL for a while.
That PFL talent, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we know that the top 5 fighters in the world are in the PFL. Like, if they went head to head with UFC champs, no question who's coming out.
I mean, Don Davis knows that because he definitely watches MMA. If he's seen anything today? It's quite.
Imagine not just having prepping for the interview and having one fight that you can be like, yes, this is one. Just pick one random fight from 1997, and people would be like, oh man, that's really cool.
Nope.
Anyway.
Dude's got Randy Couture sitting cage side and just cannot come up with it.
Love it. Sean, Fakhretdinov, Leal, what you got?
Yeah, don't have too much here. It's not a bad fight after the initial one fell through. Leal's a fun fighter. What we saw in PFL was he was going out there and finishing guys, and when he wasn't, then it was still a pretty fun fight. So it should be good, but Fakhretdinov is actually a pretty decent fighter, and I think he's gonna probably smash this guy. He's gonna take him down and bully him pretty big on the ground. Minus 250 kind of seems to be the going rate for probably a fighter that should win. It's just scary relying on these judges to know what they're looking at,
especially with this guy, because he's had those moments in other fights where he's got clipped and stumbled and looked like an absolute disaster coming down the stretch. So I see it. I see it. Wes, thoughts?
Yeah, and with Leal, that's one thing he's going to do. He's throwing like that was always his problem in PFL when he ran up against guys that could just body him against the cage and stuff. If that guy was in space throwing, he was a problem. I saw his last LFA fight. Can't really remember it, but I know he got a nice KO there. I just think fuck right off is he's going full fucking wrestle mode here. Think he can probably grind out a win here. I would be more. I would trust the over here more than I would fuck right off, just in case Leal does like do one of those moments Brad's talking about where he lands something and steals around here or something. Just never know. But the over 2.5, I think, is right around the same price. So kind of like that. I think fuck right off probably just grinds his way to a pretty wide decision here.
That's what I'm expecting. Unfortunately, seems like books are on the same page because decisions basically even money. So yeah, a lot of people expecting him to deploy the wrestling game, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. I hope it doesn't, just so the card can get off to a little bit of a more interesting start. But hey, chances are I'm probably not tuning in for that first fight anyway. So what do I really care? Middleweight division up next. Bruno Silva, that's Bruno with one N, taking on what was this guy's nickname back in the day? He was like the Austrian Wonder Kid or something.
Austrian
like
Wonder Boy.
Damn it!
Jesus.
Is that still up on his Sherdog page? Is that
You
why
betcha.
you're seeing that?
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, they don't have anything on Tapology, but yeah, obviously it was
that
a good
bad.
nickname.
Yeah, they're literally like, we're not putting that, bro.
Yeah,
ain't happening.
Try again.
Anyways, he comes back to the UFC. He fought in the UFC just prior to or maybe into the pandemic a little bit. No, I think he was like one of the victims of the pandemic early on. Yeah. 2-2 in his first run in the UFC. A couple decent wins. Tractor Cruzeres and Siar Baharzada. And one real bad loss that I don't get at all against Jens Rencontre. And another one to Sean Brady, which doesn't look so bad in the grand scheme of things. Kind of weird that he's back because he's looked worse since leaving the UFC than he ever did in it. But hey, everybody probably wants to fight. And I'm sure that people are just kicking down the door to head over to Abu Dhabi and fight there. So is this a late replacement or something?
Or
it's not.
Or you're in Abu Dhabi and you got all these guys that can't get fucking visas to go anywhere else.
Huh. I wonder, crazy. I wonder what that's all about. Anyway, he's back. Sean, this could be some fun shenanigans.
Yeah, it's possible. I think you're right. I think he kind of got fucked over by the pandemic because he lost to Brady in February of 2020, and that's kind of when shit kind of started to get shut down. Like you said, he's 1-2 in his last 3, and the guy that he beat is a 37-year-old Algerian that lost 2 straight before he fought Nordiev. Not a quality win to get yourself back in the UFC, but I guess if UFC comes to the beautiful Abu Dhabi, then somehow you can luck yourself into a fight with Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva got absolutely fucked over.
But one of the worst decisions you'll ever fucking see.
That is absolute trash. Fucking Chris Weidman is a dirtbag. I don't care how nice he seems. Absolute dirtbag, scratching and crawling for a win. The reffing in that fight was absolute trash. He got fucked. This fight, I don't know. Bruno Silva is a very flawed fighter, but he's got pretty good power. We'll see what Nordiev Nordiev brings, but I'll take the guy that's been fighting the much better fighters. I know he's on a three fight losing streak, but the guys he's fighting are a lot better than I think Nordiev's fought and Nordiev period. So I'll pick Bruno Silva. I don't really have any interest in putting any money on it, but it's a bit surprising Silva's a plus 155 dog.
A little bit. Born in Grozny, Russia, his affiliation is top team Salzburg. For those at home, that's in Austria, hence the Austrian Wonder Boy. And now he is fighting out of Rabat, Morocco. Just a worldly man, this Austrian Wonder Boy, Wes, don't you say?
I guess you could put it that way. Yeah, I don't get this line. Like, I get Sean's right. Bruno Silva's a flawed fighter. He's had some pretty tough matchups and like outcomes here lately. He absolutely won the Weidman fight. Like, absolutely. That's he's not on a 3-fight losing streak. He was in tough with Sharov that's fighting later. Was in that fight pretty good. Did some dumb shit. I think he got tripped at one point, fell down, like lost the 3rd round in the fight. Like, he was in that fight, took a round. Brendan Allen, just a horrible matchup for him. I think he wants to get this shit down and get on top of this guy. I think if he can get any kind of takedown in this fight, a couple takedowns, I think he works this guy over. I think this line is flipped. Just the wrong guy's favored here, man. I'm gonna have to take some of Silva. It's not gonna be anything big, but man, this just doesn't seem like the proper line in my opinion. So small bet. I think Silva can get on top and work this guy over a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe if this happened right after the Sean Brady fight and the rest of Nardiev's career to now had not happened, this is the right line. But I don't know. Maybe people are thinking that he's just been off for 4 years or something. But hey, I'm probably going to go with Bruno 1N here.
Plus 155, did Bruno. You say, Wes? Yeah, I think that's the best out there. Yeah, around 155, something like that.
Damn, yeah, we're gonna do that. Anyway, moving on up, but down to the bantamweight division. Farid Basharat taking on Victor Hugo. It's impressive. It's impressive that he's still around. You know, famous French novelist. What's your favorite Victor Hugo book, Sean?
I got nothing on that. I'm not a book reader, sir. Who that wasn't that a quote? Is that that's a Dana quote, isn't it? I'm not a book reader.
Probably.
It seems like
it's definitely fitting. I mean, he's got some classics. The Hunchback. Les Miserables.
Yeah, those are
good shit from old Victor here.
You're far too cultured for this podcast, bro.
You 100%.
What are you doing? You drinking beers out of goblets. You fucking talking about French fucking writers and shit. What are we doing?
You got to bring some class to this sport sometimes, Wes. Anyway, this is a fight that's happening. Sean, is the pen truly mightier than the sword?
No, not in this case. I think Basharat is the sword, and he's going to take this guy down. Basharat takes down everyone. I know Hugo stuffed a shit ton of takedowns against Falcao last time out, but Basharat is just so much better of a grappler. Does he get a finish down there? It's hard to say. It's kind of been a mixed bag. He has been fighting pretty good fighters in the UFC, so not getting finishes against Lapus and Blackshear, I guess I can't hold that too much against him. I think he's pretty damn good, and I don't think Hugo's going to be the guy to kind of stop this undefeated fighter at this point.
Shame. Wes.
Yeah, like Basharat here. I definitely think, like Sean said, he can get consistent takedowns on Hugo for sure. Man, that's a big number on just fight inside, but god damn, this guy's just a decision machine. And like, I'm considering it because of the fighter that Hugo is. Like, the guy, he goes for it. He's gonna try to he's gonna mix this up and get it wild. And I think that's gonna play into Basharat's hands. But man, the guy just can't finish fucking anything. So
minus 650 favorite, minus 150 to win by decision. Those are the lines that you hate.
Yeah. And then like that just fight inside, it's sitting at like plus 150. It's just, man, when you see guys that are minus 650, that's what I immediately go and look at, is what is them to get a finish. But man, this is just, that guy just doesn't finish fucking anybody. So I can't really fuck with a minus 650 on this guy either. So this sadly is just probably a complete pass for me.
Yep. Fareed, the ferocious fleece blanket, is going to be at it again in this one, I think. Yeah, that's really about it. I'm not overly intrigued for this one. Hopefully Hugo can have some moments, because he's definitely going to be the one that has to bring the excitement in this matchup. But yeah, not boding too well. Basharat's going to do what he needs to do to win another decision, I think. He does look impressive sometimes, even in winning these decisions, or like you can tell there's talent and skill there. It's just not necessarily the most exciting thing, especially when it looks like at times he's not even trying to look for a finish, which is, not great. Moving it on to the heavyweight division. Definitely a little bit of t-shirt in the pool flavor on this one. Chris Barnett, Beast Boy, Bubble Boy, Beast Bubble. He's had a bunch of nicknames in his career, and he's taken on our boy Kenny Nunchucks, part of the family, one of the Chucks, if you will. Sean.
I was on the over 1.5 in the old Nunchucks last fight against Osp. That might have been as easy as one of those can get. It was quite beautiful to watch. I think we're in store for that again. Kenny Nunchucks, he barely hit an under against Devin Clark. He got the under by a minute and a half against Cute Labia. But, for the most part, he's kind of going deeper into fights. And Chris Barnett is not he can take an ass whooping. Usually the guys that are going to get him out of there are guys that can, sub him a bit or just kind of put a bunch of volume on him. But for the most part, he can take an ass whooping. So I like the over 1.5. It's like even money at a bunch of spots. Some money's already come in on it at Bet Online to push it into the minus territory. But I think this just gets sloppy and fat and gross, and we enjoy that on the MMA analysis. As long as we're getting paid for it, we enjoy it. So I think this is another one where we're going to get some distance in this one. So over 1.5 is definitely going to be the play.
So I've got a theory on this one. We'll get there. Wes, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, fatties. This is probably one of my favorite bets on the entire card. I mean, have people watched Chris Barnett fights? Like, if somebody can take him down and just sit on top of him and just pound him out, usually stays in a fight. The guy doesn't got a good chin. Then we're talking about Kenny Nunchucks here, that guy doesn't finish much usually. I just think this matchup is prime for maybe even going 15 minutes of some very sloppy stuff. trying to talk myself into throwing a small little stab on Barnett here. If this wasn't a 2-year layoff and the canceled fight from a couple weeks back, like I don't know why he pulled out of that fight, but he pulled out a fight 2 weeks ago. I would probably
the trip to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, wanted. I would probably try to talk myself into throwing a little something on him here. Like Kenny Nunchuck's minus 650 to any fucking body on the roster just seems like insane to me. But might throw a little Subway sub money on that. But I love the over 1.5 in this fight. And Barnett would be a pick for me here, whether I bet it or not. Like this, I don't know what we're doing here when this dude is minus 650 to somebody. Like, what the fuck are we doing anymore?
It's true. So 6'5" against 5'9", I believe are the heights when I looked them up in this one earlier. And once they're in the clinch, you know that the Kenny Nunchucks likes to go with the elbows. So he's going to go and he's going to try and throw his elbows in the clinch, and they're just going to like whoosh, right over the top of Barnett's head. They're not going to land. He's going to get tired. He's going to start leaning. He looks for the standing guillotine, but I don't know if he can reach down far enough to actually grab his neck to get the leverage. So I'm trying to think of the ways that the Kenny Nunchucks can finish the fight, and they're just not materializing in the brain. So over 1.5 it is. You know that Barnett's always good for some goofy shit in there that'll take up some time and some hugs and high fives and dapping it up in the middle of the cage, maybe just to run down that clock. Do what you got to do, Chris Barnett. Just give us 7.5 minutes. Classic MMA analysis consensus bet of the week.
Bingo.
Fatty's gonna fatty. Whatever plus money you can get, even or plus money. Are we just saying even?
Plus 100. Let's go.
There we go. I once saw somebody say minus 100.
No.
And it just felt so wrong.
That person.
If you're keeping score at home, kids, don't do that. Just no. It's weird. Stop it. Anyway.
Got to score a field goal, bro. That's classic stuff for those who know.
Moving on to the middleweight division, we've got a bust Magomedov taking on Bruno Ferreira. That's Bruno with 2 N's.
We're going to talk about Bruno.
I'm glad that they differentiate for us with 1 N or 2 N's. It's really helpful. Thank you, Brazil, for naming people the way that you do. Sean?
The bus should be pretty scared if he doesn't get this fight to the ground, because Bruno has scary power, especially in the first, 4, 5, 6 minutes. After that, it probably gets a lot less scary, but early on, a bus better be taking this guy down or way out of range, because this guy is could get his head knocked the fuck off. I do think a bus is unfortunately probably going to fight smart and grind and take this guy down and kind of wear him out to get him tired, get that lactic acid built up in his arms, and then he becomes a lot less scary. I don't think a bus is going to finish anybody. Couldn't finish Worley Alves in 2024 after laying on him for damn near 15 minutes. But I think, unfortunately, the bus is going to get a boring-ass decision. Would love for the Bruno to knock his head clean off, but I don't, unfortunately, see it happen.
Wesley, do you see it happening?
Yeah, I don't know how easy takedowns are going to be here against Bruno. His takedown defense has actually been pretty solid from what I can remember, and man, anytime this is on the feet, bro, like this guy deaded fucking Hobo, deaded who was the
Hogs.
other
Hogs.
Well, I mean that was just Stoltis deaded him. I mean, this guy's got like legitimate power, and we've seen the Oa bust pull some bust fucking shit now. Guy's 34 years old at this point. He's not like some like young prospect anymore and shit. I like Bruno here, man. Bruno KO is like plus 225 and shit. That's insane. Come on, man. I'll take a little bit of that. If I would bust wrestle fucks here to a shitty decision, then so be it. But man, I'm taking a guy with some crazy power, some decent takedown defense against a guy that I just don't think is very good. That plus 225 is a little too enticing.
Yeah, I don't know if a bust can get the same drugs that all of the other Russians are taking imported into Germany. It's probably a little bit more difficult there. And it shows because just like nothing impresses me about the guy. He had obviously the one round against Sean Strickland on short notice where everyone was like, oh, he's might actually be a thing, and died immediately after that. So yeah, I'm not sure what he's shown that makes him a favorite here. I guess there's a world where he can kind of do the same thing as he did in the Warley fight, where he's facing somebody that's going to fade. It's just the peak that Bruno has before he fades is a whole lot more violent than what Warley can do in 2024. So I think it's going to be, as Wes said, difficult to get those takedowns, especially when he's fresh. Sometimes the takedowns that he's given up so far because he gets stupidly out of position from overthrowing, which is certainly a possibility here as well. But I also think that he's got a pretty decent chance of landing on a bust who doesn't seem to be the most defensively sound fighter that we've ever seen. So I'm with Wes. Getting that extra buck and a bit on the KO or TKO line. Don't hate that, because that's probably the way it's going to have to go. If it gets into round 2 or 3, I don't think a bust's cardio is as bad as it was in the Strickland fight. I think that was kind of a moment in time thing. But yeah, I still think the fight favors him the longer it goes. So hopefully we get Bruno there early on and cash a little bet.
Right back from doing some all-season stick measuring.
Yeah, that's right. Ozzy, how you doing, buddy? We are moving it on to the lightweight division. This is
it's gonna be fun.
What I thought was a good fight, and I looked at the line and I was like, holy shit, that line's a lot bigger than I thought it would be, in favor of the old minty bets Oral-B. He's taking on Matusz Rebeshki. Sean?
Both these guys got a little bit exposed last time out, one a bit more than the other. Rebeshki, he looked great early, but he couldn't get Diego out of there, and then it was bad news bears for him because Diego's a vet, and he's got the vet skills and the grittiness to expose somebody if you're not going to have a gas tank, and if you just throw everything you can at him. Oral-B got, he had pretty good success early on and couldn't get Brenner out of there as well. And then it kind of became a much closer fight than what the odds were pre-fight. The price is pretty wide. It might be a bit of a too far gone, but I do like Oral-B's game. Like he pushes a really good pace. I think Rebeshki can have some success early, then it kind of negates that, and then it gets a lot closer. But I kind of think that's Rebeshki's path to victory. He's got to put a big hurting on Oral-B early, or I think the pace and the grappling of Oral B is going to take over. Rebecki doesn't have great takedown defense. He's offensively has good takedowns, but he's also susceptible to be taken down. Oral B kind of the same thing. So maybe this just becomes a weird grappling kind of reversal chaos fight on the ground. I think Oral B is a bit better on the feet. So when it is on the feet, I think he's going to be a bit better. But I think I'll take the cardio of Oral B. It's just getting to minus 300 is a bit of a tough one. It seems to be this is the way the kind of odds in the UFC are kind of trending. I feel like, years back, this would have been a bit of a closer fight, and then you could look to parlay Oral B. Now it seems like these favorites that, probably do win, but do you really want to be?
But if they don't, if they don't, you get hit hard.
Yeah, you get hit hard.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm going to be able to get there with a bet, but I'm going to pick the big favorite in Oral B.
Wesley.
Yeah, kind of agree with most of what Sean said. I think just Rebecki was like very, very exposed last time. Like Ferreira's decent still, but goddamn, that man's like 40 and shit now. And I hadn't seen Rebecki gas like that. If he does that again, like that's a problem with the Oral B, because that dude's got a gas tank that doesn't quit. I kind of feel like a little opposite of Sean on this part, though. I think early it could be a little scrambly, a little Oral B takedowns, Rebecki trying to get back up. I think this might turn into a little bit of a sloppy kind of stand-up kickboxing fight in the second and third round here. I think that Oral B is gonna be able to get those takedowns a little early, but Rebecki be able to scramble. They're both going to get a little bit tired, and it's just going to turn into a kind of slow fight. I do lean Oral B on the feet a little over Rebecki. I do think Rebecki's probably got bigger power than he'll know. So, man, minus 300 is just crazy here. I think it's a little bit closer fight than that, but after that last fight, I can't put my money on Rebecki even at this kind of line. I kind of like the over, though. I think this does turn a little bit slow later in the fight. Rebecki got finished last time, but like, man, he completely gassed out, and yeah. Diego put a beating on him to finally get a finish. I don't think Oral B is like even that offensively skilled to land damage, even like Diego Ferreira. So if this fight kind of plays out like I think it does, I think the over is the side here, and I'll be taking a little bit of that over 2.5.
Yeah, I think it's probably more likely that Rebecki can get takedowns early in the fight, because I think that Oral B struggled more overall in wrestling exchanges. Obviously, the few times that Rebecki got taken down in the CDF fight, he was already super gassed, and there wasn't much going on there. So I don't know how much, like, other than that, he's never been taken down in the UFC. So his defensive wrestling's looked pretty good from my perspective. I don't think that Oral B is going to be able to get him down early in this fight. We'll see what can happen a little bit later, and if the cardio fades like it did against CDF, don't think there's going to be a repeat of that. Again, it's not something that we've seen throughout his career. So I think this fight's a lot closer than the plus or the minus 300 plus 260 out there. I wouldn't hate like a points handicap or something in this fight. You can probably get some decent plus money on Rebecki plus 3.5 if that's out there. I think he's going to take a round. I think this is going to be competitive, and he's got a shot to win. So, plus
120, Bradley, for the plus 3.5.
There you go. I might be looking in that direction because I do think this is going to be especially competitive early. So, plus 120, plus 3.5. Thank you, Sean. Anyway, we are moving on to the welterweight division. Jeff Neal, Rafael dos Anjos. Why is RDA still fighting? Sean?
It's a very good question. He's gonna be 40 in 3 days. Not quite sure why he's still fighting. I mean,
40th birthday party in Abu Dhabi, baby. Discover Abu Dhabi. Where's my check, Shiki?
I think it's gonna be a sad birthday. Myself for him on Saturday. For the most part, at welterweight, RDA to have kind of pretty good success, he needs to get offensive takedowns. I know he had a decent amount of success against Gamrot, who was just spamming takedowns. That's a completely different stylistic matchup. But when somebody is not just doing that, he usually has to get takedowns. I think that's just because he's kind of a tweener between lightweight and welterweight. I don't think he's going to be able to take down Jeff Neal, who's shown very, very good takedown defense. And on the feet, I think Jeff Neal is a pretty damn good striker, and I think he has more power than RDA. I don't think he gets a finish, but I think he can get a pretty decisive victory. But fuck, once again, minus 280, minus 300 for a favorite that, I think RDA is durable enough to kind of stick around. This goes to the judges' scorecards. Weird shit can happen, and I don't want to be holding a minus 300 ticket on kind of a fight that might be closer than what that means. So another one where I'll pick the favorite, but I don't know if I'm going to get there for a bet. I got to find some bets.
Wes, do you have any bets here?
Not as of yet. This is another tough one. Another fave that should probably win, but man, you want Jeff Neal at almost minus 400 against. I mean, RDA still like tough as fuck, man. Like tough to get that guy out of there. I mean, Neal should win this fight. He should be able to piece him up on the feet. Should be able to keep it up. Doesn't seem like RDA's like offensive grappling and wrestling like is as good up at 170, especially this late. He has a problem controlling those guys. Like at 155, he was just a tank. He could pretty much control anybody that he wanted to. So it's a little bit tougher up at 170. And it's not like Neal's like some small 170, like that dude's like had his organs and shit shut down from like trying to make 170 at times. So yeah, I mean, guess you got to lean Neal here, but man, it's just tough to lay that kind of price on him. So pick Neal. Probably a fight I can't put him on.
Yeah, I'm picking Neal here. I don't know, like I'm not betting it, but I don't know that I necessarily have the same reservations that Sean and Wes do here. I think he's going to be able to relatively easily control this to a decision. Maybe if it was 5 rounds, I'd be more concerned just because RDA has that experience, but it's not. So I don't even know why I brought it up. I think as far as a card that looks like it's littered with landmines, if you're the type that wants to be parlaying, this seems like one of the more reasonable spots. But not my style. Not what I'm here for. So we are going to keep it rolling to the final prelim of the day. We've got ibuprofen against Rafael Cialis? No, I need to come up with something for that guy. Churrasquera. That's one of those Portuguese chicken spots, right? Rafael Churrasquera? No, we'll get there. Anyway, Sean, who the fuck are these guys?
No idea. One thing that we don't have on this card is any women's fights, which is a bonus. So I got some reserved pass cards in the pocket, and that's going to be reserved for this fight. So I will pass.
Wes.
Can't fight in a headscarf. That's for sure.
Wasn't there a fighter that did once? I thought I remembered seeing that.
There might be on another promotion, but you know.
Oh yeah,
UFC ain't letting nobody walk in there with a head scar.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, I know this ibuprofen dude like put a fucking steamroll on the old Pleasure Man his last time out. I'm not sure I've seen this other guy fight over in demo. I mean he's demoing some fucking bums over there. That's for sure. Yeah, I have no idea here. If I'm winding it up and I need some action, I look the under. It just seems like these guys are going to throw down and somebody's going to lay down. So expect a 15-minute decision by the Chicken Man. Yeah, total pass here. I got no fucking clue, man.
Yeah, as far as the actual fight and fighters go, no idea. But there's a reason that they put fights like this with one Middle Eastern guy, I believe he's from Turkey,
Mm-hmm.
In a fairly prominent position on a card. And they brought in a guy specifically to face him. So I would imagine that probably makes the local fella maybe worth a little bit of a bet on this one, considering it's basically a pick'em here. Yeah, we'll see if that turns out to be true. I'm probably not going to do it myself, but as I said, there's a reason these fighters in this fight is in this spot on this card. Moving it on to the main cards, middleweight division, Armen Petrosyan, Shitty Bullet. Sean, is this guy gonna finally get his comeuppance?
I don't think so, and I hope not, because I'm not fading him here. I've faded him a bunch in the UFC because he is an absolute fucking fraud. When you're getting taken down multiple times by Michael Olowokandi and Bruno Silva, you got fucking issues. Petrosyan is obviously a striker. He was able to take down old Leroy Duncan, but I think Bullet's probably good enough that he's able to stuff a kickboxer's takedowns, and then when it's on the feet, he probably has the edge there. But Petrosyan's decent on the feet. I just hope he doesn't get fraud checked, because I just want one more, because I'm not going to be able to get there on Petrosyan, but I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to get this guy, because it's coming. Just hopefully not Saturday.
Is Shitty Bullet better on the feet?
I mean, probably not cleaner striking. He's probably got better spinning shit and variety and maybe a little bit more power.
So we got extra chances of him to come in and get clocked doing some dumb shit, right?
True. But this is also in Abu Dhabi. We just got to remember that.
That's a very good point as far as the scorecards go. But yeah, Wes, what are you thinking?
Yes, yeah, I'm pretty much pot committed at this point, but look, if this dude isn't gonna get fucking Armen down and beat on him, like if you can guarantee me 15 minutes of a kickboxing match here, I mean I'm doubling up on Armen. I'm betting him at this price. Like I said, I'm pot committed against this fucking bum. I think he's a fraud. Does some flashy shit, but like Sean said, he lost a round to Bruno Silva. The Candyman was doing well. Petrosyan is a legitimate fucking kickboxer, man. So if this is on the feet, I kind of like my chances. I do wish the price was bigger, because Sean's right. If the old Shara can get like another crazy fucking finish here or something, he's gonna be a big price next time. But like I said, I'm pot committed. I'm taking some Armen. I think it's a decent matchup for him if he can keep it on the feet.
Yeah, I don't see any reason that, not that he's got good takedown defense, but I just don't think that he's going to have to face any takedowns in this fight. Maybe some desperate ones, later in the fight. If he's, the one-eyed Joe gets starts getting tired and doesn't like to get touched up on the feet a little bit, and starts to shoot some Conor McGregor, oh, you a grappler now takedowns. We'll see if that happens. But on the feet, he's probably faster than Petrosian. I don't necessarily think he's got some incredible amount of knockout power against a legitimate level of competitor. I mean, obviously he's got mostly knockout finishes, but it's all against guys with 500 records on Russian regional shows. So it means less than nothing. And we've seen him go to decision with the two guys that he's faced that are decent in the UFC. So he's got another one. It's the best overall kickboxer that he's ever faced. So unless he's got more to his game, I think he finally gets got in this spot. So I will take a little Petrosian here. Plus 135, plus 140. That's all more than enough for me to keep fading this guy. So yeah, I wish, we could get that bigger number down the road, but I'm not going to pass up the, what's it? An egg in the hand is better than two in the bush, Sean. You got the beard. You should know these sayings, right?
That somehow seems off a bit. I don't think that's...
No, that's completely right. I wouldn't mess something like that up.
It's a bird. Anyway. It's a bird in the beard or something like that,
right? I think there's probably a couple birds in there.
It is a nest.
A bird in the hand. But where do birds come from, Wes? If it's an egg in the hand is better than two in the bush, it's practically already a bird. So think about it, dummy. Featherweight division. Lerone Murphy taking on Dan Ige. Was this supposed to be something? There was a bunch of stuff that was supposed to be other stuff on this card, but this isn't one of them. So never mind. Sean, good fight.
Yeah, it should be a good fight. Once again, this is another one where the price is probably a little bit too high on Lerone Murphy, but I do think he wins. Dan Ige has fought the much better competition, but obviously he has lost a bunch of those. Lerone Murphy is surprisingly somehow is not lost in the UFC, which is kind of wild. He just hasn't ever.
He's been in tough a couple times.
He's been in tough. There's some split decisions in there. Yeah. He just hasn't got much for step ups, and now they're finally giving him one. I was pretty impressed with what he did against Ed Barboza. I was on Barboza there. He was able to get some takedowns, and even when it was on the feet, he had a lot of success. I think he can mix it up against Dan Ige. I think he can take Dan Ige down if he wants to. And when it's on the feet, I think he's probably the better striker. He's got a little bit of a reach advantage, but I just think he throws more volume, and I think that's going to give him the edge. But this could come down to a fairly greasy decision because both of these guys don't have too many finishes. So I'll probably steer clear of this one as well, unfortunately.
Wesley.
Yeah, I mean the over is a big price here, so this is probably going to go 15. I think it's going to be fairly close. I think Sean's right. Murphy could probably mix this up a little more. Not sure how easy the takedowns or the grinding that Murphy likes to do at points in fights to kind of wear on guys play against Ige. Man, this line just seems a little wide, man. I don't know if I can bring myself to bet on Ige at this point. I do like Lerone Murphy. I think he's a good fighter, but man, these past few fights, I just think his level of competition is creeping up a little bit, and you're starting to see some slight holes here and there, but still a very good, well-rounded fighter. But man, Ige's a vet. That guy's seen a lot of good fighters, and man, like Sean said, if this gets to the judges, you never know, man. Ige seems to make a lot of fights close. So just a crazy wide line. Murphy probably wins, but there's no way I would lay almost minus 400 in the spot.
Yeah, that price is insane to me. And this is a fight where you don't even have to worry. Like, you just have to worry about standard shitty judging. You don't have to worry about corrupt shitty judging. So, I mean, that's, I mean,
guess,
a good
they're
thing.
They're going to probably see Ige and think he's a little more desert than Murphy anyway. So, like, you know.
He just needs to come out in the right apparel, and he's got this one in the bag. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. I was quite surprised when I saw how wide the line was. Honestly, this is going to be a trend through the rest of the main card, but I guess I haven't been as paying attention as close to lines the last little while. But as Sean has said, this seems to be the way it goes now. The standard favorite price is, $50 higher than it used to be. So you're definitely paying that premium if you want to play the favorites. I do not hear. We'll see if I can get to Ige at some point. Because it's going to be competitive. Like, this is Lerone Murphy, who was super competitive and, just scraped his way by Gabriel Santos, when he was making his UFC debut. And hasn't put a lot of distance in his fights, except there's kind of the snowball effect in the Edson fight last time out. That's not going to happen against Ige. You know that dude's not slowing down for 15 minutes. So, am I looking at Dan Ige? I think I might be looking at some Dan Ige in this spot.
Plus 400's out there on him decision.
Damn. Yeah, that's big. That's big. Probably going to have something on Ige in some form or fashion here. This is too wide. I was high on Murphy a while ago. I just don't think he's ever quite fulfilled his potential the way I expected him to. And when you're a featherweight and now 33, probably not going to happen. So I think it's not bad to start looking for spots where he might be on the downswing a little bit.
Ige by racism. Locking in.
Hey, you got to take everything. There's always an edge if you're willing to look.
You got to look hard.
Speaking of which, light heavyweight division, Magomed Ankalaev.
Tired already.
Right? Whew. And if that didn't make you tired enough, Alexander Rakic is staring at him from across the cage. And I do mean staring. Sean?
It's quite the difference between Ankalaev's last fight, where I was on the over 1.5. It barely got there by 12 seconds against Johnny Walker. And now the 1.5 is minus 400 against Rakic. I don't know. Maybe there's some value on the under. That's mostly going to be on Ankalaev trying to make a statement to try to get a title shot. But that's a tough one, because as we've seen with Rakic, he had a ton of success early on against Yuri, but he just doesn't have the power at this weight class to put guys away at the upper echelon. And is he going to win a decision against Ankalaev? I don't see it. Ankalaev's probably going to be the better guy. Is he going to get takedowns? I don't think so, but I think he's just going to have a better jab and
leg kicking.
A leg kick and just a classic Ankalaev fight.
He's going to have the more forcible moments of holding him against the cage.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make an impact.
I don't know. Maybe he did get Johnny Walker out of there. He did get Cute Labia out of there. those are some interesting fighters.
Those are like two of the top 5 most. You better get these guys out of there fighters of all time.
Absolute donkeys. So yeah, that does make sense, but Yankalaev could try to make a statement. I don't know if he's going to pay for it. I don't think he's going to pay for it because Rakic doesn't have the power to make him pay for it. So maybe we see Yankalaev switch it up on us and get him out of there. Rakic is coming off a pretty bad KO, but
very bad.
I'll pick Yankalaev, but I don't think I'm going to find a bet on this one. It's not good.
Wes, let's bring us back to reality after Sean's little trip down mystery, angry Ankalaev lane.
Yeah, that man's not like Rakic would have to walk in there and like face plant into the post or something for Ankalaev to get a finish, I believe. Like that was like a tremendously bad knockout last time. And crazily enough, he was having like great success against Yuri early in that fight. Like, I'm like, man, fuck, Rakic looks good. This guy might be like back and as good as ever. And then
no power. Just no power.
Landing all of that shit and couldn't fucking even stun him once. I think that's his problem here. Look, I do think this line is another one that's fucking inflated. I don't want to lay minus 400 on Ankalaev where you know this is going to a decision probably. Ankalaev by decision is like even money. I think if you like him in the spot, you just take that and hope you get prime Ankalaev, which that I think you probably do. Just hope Rakic's chin just isn't completely gone to where he gets hit with some dumb jab and he gets knocked out. But I think it's a lot of jabbing, a lot of leg kicking. Ankalaev maybe against the cage, laying on top of him. No way I'm laying minus 400 on Ankalaev though. So I kind of think it's one of those. It's a dog, or you find that prop on Ankalaev, one or the other. You take the big number on Rakic. Hopefully he lands something enough, maybe volumes his way to a split decision. But I think most likely Ankalaev is going to win a very shitty decision here, and we're all going to forget about him again until they go back to Abu Dhabi, and nobody will fucking want to see him fight Pereira ever. And this guy can just do whatever the fuck, go away.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Before the pod, I said that I could probably be talked into Rakic if that's a direction that anyone was thinking they might go. Obviously, that's not really happening, and
it's tough.
I think that the judging factor here is not to be overlooked in a fight where I don't expect a lot to happen. I think that Rakic, if he comes out kicking like he did in the Yuri fight, I think he can have a lot of success early. I think that eventually that's just going to prompt Yankalaev to get into the cage. And that's really where he does his best wrestling anyway. So that's where he's got the best chance of getting takedowns. If he is going to get any takedowns in this fight, is little trips from the clinch and stuff like that. So I think he gets a decision. I think it probably sucks. I hope for Rakic's sake, he can keep that distance and keep kicking that leg and never get into the wild exchanges that Yuri forced out of him, because we know Yankalaev's just not that kind of dude. I just think if there's any chance that this is close, it's one of those ones where we all watched a close fight and we know the scorecards aren't going to reflect the actual fight. So gonna pass and hope Yankalaev wins a terrible decision so that I don't feel bad about not betting on it, but he also doesn't get the title shot moving forward, because who wants to see that? Last two fights. Now we get to the real good shit. Middleweight division again. Former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker taking on former going to be future three-weight division champion Cumshot Chimaev. That's a good description of him.
That's a big throwback to the old early COVID days. I love it.
Sean,
a lot's changed since then. I think Chimaev might have the AIDS because it seems like he just gets sick all the time. Can't cut weight. Can't finish a fight camp.
I think he legitimately got long COVID. Like legitimately.
I think they just poison him every time he tries to leave the country because they're scared he's going to stay over.
You're never going to come back.
Never get in.
I'm tired of losing to this guy's kids in training, dog. Fuck this. Out here.
There's just so many question marks when it comes to Chimaev. Obviously, what he showed early on in the COVID days looked like an absolute world beater against some pretty weak competition. He did step it up against some veteran guys and kind of blew through them. But then we got the Gilbert Burns fight, which that was a test for him. He came through for the most part, but it got dicey there. Smokes Kevin Holland because, of course, that's just a tailor-made matchup for him. Then he gets Kamaru Usman.
Tailor-made matchup on like 7 hours.
Yeah, on 7 hours notice, 100%. And it was 100
after missing weight. Oh, weird shit. And then the Kamaru Usman fight came along, and I thought he was gonna just smoke Usman. Usman doesn't really have knees anymore. Obviously, coming off those multiple losses to Leon Edwards, including getting finished by him, and Chimaev, he had success early, but then what happened? He lost the second round, and the third round was fucking close. What happens in a 5-round fight against Usman? I don't know. There's obviously tons of stuff out there where and then he was supposed to fight Whitaker in fucking was that Abu Dhabi or where I forget when it was earlier this year, and he had to pull out again because he was sick. Supposedly that's behind him. He's got a nutritionist now, which is smart for an Uber prospect at 30 years old to finally get a nutritionist to check him out and figure out why he's getting the AIDS. So there's just so many question marks. And then for me, I don't know if there's a person that's lost more money betting on Robert Whitaker fights, not specifically on him, because I've faded him an absolute shit ton. After the YOLO fights, I was fading him. I thought he was done ski, just how much damage that he took in those fights. I got him against Izzy, but that's nothing special. And then the Duplessis fight comes around. I'm like, oh, Duplessis is a donkey. He's going to just outwork him, outstyle him. This is going to be an easy one. And whoops, gone. Then last time out, short notice against Alaskarov, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to bet on him. I took him and over 1.5 in the same game parlay. And then he decides to absolutely smoke this dude in minutes.
Looked incredible.
That was a great one.
Yep. Unbelievable. So this seems like I should just stay away. Red flags on Chimaev, just the worst. I just have no idea what I'm doing in Robert Whitaker fights. If I was forced to bet something, I would probably put a small play on Whitaker just to see what Chimaev is at this point. He seems like he has the skills, but recently it's been questionable. Has all this nutrition and putting all these injuries behind him just completely changed him, and now he's got back on track. I guess we'll see. I'll have to see it. I probably won't mush Whitaker, but I got to find some bets for this card, so maybe I just will.
Wesley.
Yeah, look, I think we just know what Chimaev, he is what he is at this point, I think. Yeah, I think that's very good. I think he's a very good fighter, but I think we've found some flaws, and you didn't see those whatsoever early on. But when the competition got raised up a little bit, Gilbert Burns, the Usman fight was just very, very telling. Sean's right. That goes 5. Chimaev probably losing that fight. we don't know how good the cardio necessarily is. The guy always fucking slows down. Man, just a big thing to me here is you're getting an all-time middleweight, man. You're getting plus 225 on Robert Whittaker. Looked absolutely horrendous against DDP, but man, looking back on that fight up until now, his last two, especially his last one, I just feel like something had to be wrong with him in that fight. He had never looked that bad before or after. I still think DDP's a fucking donkey, so maybe I'm just trying to, make excuses for a massive bet that I lost in that fight. You want to talk about a guy losing? I've lost money against, like, DDP out of just a couple fights has probably lost me more money than almost anybody. But yeah, look, if Robert Whittaker's takedown defense early, if he stops those early shots from Chimaev, if the distance management that Robert Whittaker has in fights is absolutely incredible. If he stops a couple early shots, keeps this up in a kickboxing match, man, by the middle half of the second and into that third round, I think Whittaker's getting his timing and he's landing big shots in this fight. So, look, maybe Chimaev does get that early takedown and just works him over. That is very possible. I'm going with a former champ and an all-time dude, plus 225 in this spot. That line's just too big for me. I'm going to take a little bit of Whittaker.
Has Cumshot ever had success grappling against a middleweight, an actual middleweight? I'm not talking about like John Phillips here. Let's not be silly.
I mean, the only real middleweights he's fought is Mearshart and John Phillips, if we're being honest.
Yep.
And he caught like Meerkat, like that was over.
But...
Yeah, he was too scared to grapple with Meerkat, so he knocked him out in 17 seconds instead.
Yeah.
What a punk. Yeah, this is like before this even gets into the second and third round, it's already going to be the most difficult fight that he's ever had.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to have the hardest time having that success that everyone takes for granted in the first round, because first of all, it's going to be difficult to close the distance on Whittaker. There's going to be a big expanse of desert in the middle of that cage that he has to traverse in order to get his shots out. Then we've seen Whittaker in, like, we saw the DDP fight. We know what happened there, but we've got a lot of other examples of Whittaker being an excellent scrambler in terms of wrestling exchanges. Like, this is a guy that basically drew with YOLO in a bunch of grappling exchanges across many rounds that they fought.
And DDP was still having troubles grappling him, even when he had him hurt, like had him rocked and shit, was still having troubles grappling Whittaker.
Yeah. So I don't think that Chimaev just comes out and wood chippers him on the mat. That doesn't seem like it's in the cards. If it's on the feet, yeah, Chimaev seems to have some power, but like, does he? Has he knocked out anybody, hurt anybody with like a really good chin? A really durable guy? Even a guy who's a good striker? Like, the best striker that he's fought is Usman or Burns?
Burns might be the best striker he's ever fought, and he got pieced up in that fight.
One former 155er Burns and former 170er Usman.
Yeah. So I'm struggling to see where minus 250 comes from here. So whatever the prices above 200 on Whittaker are, I think are worth betting in this spot. Like we just said this a couple months ago when he was fighting the other Russian fraud that they were trying to bring up. And that fight got down to 140 by the time the bell rang.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like in the chat, we were just like, what's going on here? Like, it was to the point where we thought there was some bang cunt shit going on, you know?
Classic.
There was some nefarious happenings taking place with the South Korean mob. But no, people are just stupid, and they back guys that they shouldn't against guys that they shouldn't. And I kind of think this is another case of it. Whitaker has been in a lot of wars. He's taken a lot of damage. He's, what is he, 33, 34 now? Like, he's starting to get up there, but not old at this point. I don't see him failing physically. Chimaev's probably the better athlete just because he's a very athletic guy in general, but I don't think it's enough like it was early in his career where it can hide all of the technical masks in his, or mask all the technical flaws in his game. So I like Whitaker. Yeah, gonna bet him just money line. There's no reason to get fancy with this one. You got a big price on an all-time great facing a guy who still has a lot of question marks surrounding him. So Whitaker for me, and we will take it up to the main event, featherweight championship. Is it also the BMF championship? Is this a double champ belt? Are we advertising 2 belts on the poster for this bad boy? No?
He'll have bought one, so he got it anyway. Fuck it.
Jeez, missed opportunity.
It's a trinket.
Ilia Topuria, Max Holloway, potentially the best fight that can be made in MMA right now.
Period. Yep.
That's pretty good.
It's very good. A lot of people don't like Ilia. I can understand why. He's talks a lot of shit. And a lot of people don't like that, especially when he kind of talks shit to a guy that's basically beloved by everyone in Max. I was kind of hoping after Max did what he did to Gaethje that we would get a kind of a soft price on Topuria, but that does not seem to be the case. Topuria is like minus 230, minus 240. That seems wild. That could look very, very bad if Max puts on one of his classic performances. The problem with that is I think Topuria is the real deal. He has absolute massive power at this level. People don't give him credit. I know everybody will go back to the Jai Herbert fight where he got cracked. Fair enough. That can happen.
Happens.
Up a weight class, but whatever. I think Topuria is the real deal, and I think that he is going to beat Max. Max has taken a lot of damage in his career, and for the most part, hasn't really shown. There was a time a while ago where people were wondering about concussions with Max, and I don't know if he was having headaches and shit like that, but that's kind of seemed to be gone away for a while. This is probably one of the biggest hitter that Max has fought, and it's not just power. Topuria is a very, very good striker. Everybody thinks that Max Holloway is going to have the reach advantage, but he's actually got short arms. He uses reach well for what he has, but he actually has short arms for how tall he is. I think Topuria is going to come forward, land some bombs, and possibly get Max out of there, which is wild to think about. I don't know if I'm going to find a way to play this. The under 4.5 is a bit juicy. Don't really want to play Topuria by finish at barely, plus money, if that. So maybe I'll just sit back and enjoy this one and just have basically no bets on a pretty good card, which is very, very sad for me.
You know what? Might not make it so bad. Might just have some enjoyable fights to watch. You don't have to worry about anything else or how they go. But you heard it here first, folks. Max Holloway and Sean Shirk, basically the same build. Those stubby little T-Rex arms of his. Wes, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a tough one. It's a big Max fan because I am on that side that I think Illa is the absolute fucking truth. The guy's he's incredible everywhere. Look, Max's best chance in this fight is to survive that early shit. He's got to draw this out. We haven't really seen Topuria getting to some grueling third, fourth, and fifth rounds in a championship fight. If Max does survive, he's the output's going to be there. He's going to land. Like if Topuria doesn't get him out of there early, like Topuria is going to take some shots, Max is going to land. So look, Max's takedown defense is fucking like legendary type shit. So I'm not sure Topuria gets a takedown in this fight. Max
shoot a lot of takedowns anyway. Like
but
striking that sets up his grappling, right?
Yeah, and then like he'll get inside and back him like he kind of did Bryce Mitchell and shit. He backed Bryce Mitchell up to the cage. He was backing Volk up to the cage and shit. And I think that's where he knocked Volk out, was up against the cage and shit. So, but look, Max doesn't stay in place. Like he's gonna be circling off the cage. He's very hard to take down. And I just feel like this is. Look, you're either going to look back on this and you're going to say, I got an incredible price on Illa at minus 220 or whatever, or you're going to be like, it was just a little too wide. Like I feel like it's a little too wide, man. I can't bring myself to bet Max yet at this point. I'm going to watch the line and shit. Look, I think Illa wins this more times than not, but man, I don't necessarily think this is a bad matchup for Max outside of that fucking power that Illa absolutely has. But fuck, man, we've seen Max's chin tested over and over and over. There was really only one guy that's fucking legitimately hurting bad, and it was a dude that had 20 fucking pounds on him. Like Topuria is not gonna have that kind of weight disadvantage, size disadvantage or advantage in this fight. So, man, incredible fight. Brad's right. Maybe the best fight you can put on an MMA. I'm probably going to end up with something very small on Max here. Because I do think Illa wins. I do think, sadly, we might see Max get that first one to where a 145 or fucking checks his chin. But, man, it's tough. Great fight. Going to pick Max. Small bet. Incredible fight.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking that this could look a decent amount like the Poirier fight. Second one. The first one.
Yeah.
It was a little different. Just like Topuria having that big power, obviously being as fast as he is, being able to get in and have that success early. But man, if you don't get Holloway out of there, and it is extremely difficult to get him out of there, he's very good at making in-fight adjustments, and
he won't slow down.
I think he'll find ways to deal with whatever Topuria is attacking him with. You know, change up angles, change up pace, change up whatever he needs to change up to start having some success of his own. So I think it's going to be a case of big moments versus sustained pressure. And, you know, we saw Topuria go 5 rounds against Emmett, but we've never seen him in a 5-round fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, where he's not waxing the guy.
Yeah. Just cruising. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens in round 3, 4, 5. If he has those big moments early, can't get him out of there, and then stuff starts to come back at him after that point. So, you know, from Max's perspective, try and stay outside, try and use like front kicks and stuff to keep distance as much as you can, just so that Topuria can't come in and blitz you, clinches and turns and exits. And I see Sean heading for the earphones because he's looking for the exit right now. But yeah, I'm thinking this goes a decent distance, and it's going to have a couple different ebbs and flows in it. As our boy Ozzy put in the chat, Max has gone over 3.5 in 14 of his last 15. It's wild that he even has enough 5-round fights that the over 3.5 has stats like that.
Yep.
Absolutely a legend.
Nobody gets that guy out of there, man. You don't just go in there and smoke that guy. It just doesn't fucking happen, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious, like Brad said, to what we see out of Topuria and that time where he can have those big moments early and it just the fight doesn't end and stuff starts coming back. That's the test of champions, that you got to see that before you truly know, are they great or not. I think Topuria is probably great, but I think Max might bring out. Yeah,
he's an all-time great. So that's a very good test for him.
Yeah. So long story short, might end up on Max, but not there yet. Maybe we get there on Saturday evening or whenever this fight is actually taking place.
Afternoon.
And yeah, we'll let you know. We'll keep you posted. But long show. Sorry, too long, folks. We'll dial it back. I'm rusty in my duties as a host. We'll rein it in over the next few weeks. But we had a lot of good fights to break down, and I think we're going to be making some money this weekend. So hopefully you do too, or whenever the next card